It's time for the Financial Crisis Talk Center with Ken Gross and David Einstandig from Thav Gross.
Credit card debt is number one. I view it as financial cancer.
40% of your gross income is going to just pay the debt service. You got no chance of getting out.
I would give up my credit score to get rid of debt.
Here's your host, Ken Gross.
Hi, welcome back. Financial Crisis Talk Center. This is the second segment of our show on the radio today, but it's actually the New Year's segment on the television version, because this is airing on January 5th. So Happy New Year to everybody when you see this show on January 5th on Channel 20. We're going to cover today, we're going to do truth or fiction regarding credit card debt is financial cancer. Before we get to that, and we'll set the stage, I said we're going to do a quote at the beginning of each show, and then you guys have to guess who the author is. Are you ready for your quote? Brian Small, who's with us this morning. Good morning, Brian, again.
Good morning,
Jenny Wingo, you still here? Still awake? Our tax expert?
I'm still here.
Okay. You ready? Always bear in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any other.
Wow, that's another very deep intellectual quote.
Did you peek?
No.
Okay. Who's your guess?
John Wayne.
John Wayne? You're saying
John
he's
Wayne.
an intellectual?
You know what? It sounded John Wayne-ish. I'm sorry. It's just what popped into my head.
Can you read that again? Because I'm not seeing that here on my outline.
All right, let me give you a little hint. Think of me as being old, tall, scraggly, with a beard.
Okay.
A long beard.
Are you a
I
president?
got it.
Think presidential and don't think cars. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Always bear in mind that your resolution to succeed is more important than any other. 70.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yes, Jenny, very good. Ding, ding, ding. Jenny got it. You were wrong, Brian. Abraham Lincoln. Were you going to guess Abraham Lincoln with those hints,
Well, I
too?
would have guessed Abraham Lincoln with the president.
Was it the scraggly beard that gave it away?
Long, tall, and presidential, and
It's a good quote, though. Think about
It's
it.
a great
Always
quote.
bear in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any
still
other.
think it sounds like John Wayne.
Yeah. What was John Wayne's big line? Anyone know?
John Wayne's big line.
He had a big line. I can't remember what it was. We'll look it up. We'll find out. Maybe Paul will look it up if he's back there. Okay. Truth or fiction, credit card debt is financial cancer. That's one of the things that we've repeatedly said. We're going to say true, but we're going to illustrate why it's true. I think it's important to think about credit card debt right now because it's the holiday season. Credit card debt is back in play. Offers are coming in the mail every day again. Go back to 2009 when things went kablooey and all the credit card debt was canceled. You weren't getting quotes in the mail. Oh, wow, I got a ton of quotes for John Wayne. Okay, you ready for one?
Sure.
Life's hard. It's even harder when you're stupid.
Yeah.
John Wayne. We'll give you one more.
I picture that as something above Brian's desk for some reason.
Listen, kiddo. Courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyway.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
A man deserves a second chance, but keep an eye on him.
No.
You're short on ears and long on mouth, buddy. I'm going to save that one for you, Brian. You're short on ears and long on mouth.
I'll give you a great quote. I don't know who said it, but I have it in my office. It's a bumper sticker I bought from...
Keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
From NASA.
What is it?
Failure is not an option.
Oh, that is a good one. But Paul, see if you can find out whose quote that is. Failure is not an option. I like that one. All right, now so what I was getting at is credit card debt is on the rise again, and the banks are loosening up the reins.
History repeats itself, and people don't learn.
So the big issue is, what do you do if you've spent too much and you're getting too far into the debt? Let me see this.
What do you do?
It looks like Apollo 13, so it is a
Yeah, it is.
NASA thing.
Yeah.
You're right. Very good. Okay, 5 shocking credit card debt statistics. This was in creditcard.com, October 3rd by
Wait,
Jerry
is it
Detweiler.
possible that there's anything shocking about credit card debt? You know what the only thing more shocking than credit card debt in the United States is?
No, what?
Student loan debt.
You're right. But at least student loans have a function of helping people gain an education so you can understand how it arises. I mean, it's not hard to understand how credit card debt arises, too. I mean,
the availability of student loans has created a massive industry of education where the only thing that's more important than education is actually the profit of education at our universities. It shouldn't cost it should not cost $25,000 a year to send your child to Michigan or Michigan State University.
What was the quote? Short on years, long on what was that, John Wayne? Short on ears and long on mouth. Okay, your point's well taken on student. And the big problem with student debt is it's non-dischargeable in bankruptcy. So not only is it $3 trillion, I believe,
yes,
but and growing. But we have this non-dischargeable claim. But that's what we're talking about now. We're talking about credit card debt. How much credit card debt does the U.S. carry? This is from October 2013. The answer is, at the end of the second quarter of 2013, $850 billion in outstanding revolving debt, mainly credit cards. Now, next question. How has America's debt balances changed over time? Over the last decade, from 2002 to 2012, the balances have increased by $76 billion, so it's about 10%. They did drop considerably after the financial crisis in 2008. In 2008, they were at $1.005 trillion. They went down by 2010 to $840 billion. So that was almost a $160 billion decline. But now from 2010 up to 2013, they're up from 840 to 850. So it's starting to climb back. It hasn't rebounded, but the concern is that it's coming back. And if you just look in the mail, you'll see that the offers are starting to come full force again because the banks have figured something out. If they don't lend money out at 15 to 29% interest when it's costing them, 1 to 2%, they're not going to make a lot of money. So they're loose. They want you to borrow on those credit cards because that's how they make their money. Major increases in previous decades. In 1967, how much credit card debt you think there was? $1.4 billion. 1987, $169 billion. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. We're talking about credit card debt.
I couldn't get out of the car. I couldn't run or exercise. I couldn't work.
Dr. Lewis Radin believes that pain shouldn't have to wait. His Spine Specialist of Michigan is a comprehensive center dedicated to helping you manage pain now. Expect the latest techniques and personalized care. Why suffer another minute?
He's the best. I tell people that he's the one that saved my life.
Make your appointment with Dr. Radin. Call 248-792-9496.
Are you struggling to pay your mortgage? Afraid of foreclosure and the financial mess it can cause? Time is not on your side. Call Alan Stalter, the short sale specialist. For years, Alan has been helping distressed homeowners navigate through the short sale process. His experience will get you out of your home without the credit score damage that follows foreclosure. If you want a fresh start, you need to call Alan Stalter, the short sale specialist, 248-854-3829 or MetroDetroitShortSale.com.
No one ever thinks that a serious injury can happen to them, but it can, and it does. And it can happen to you. And when it does, you need a fighter in that courtroom for you. Call me, Ben Johnson. Automobile accident, police misconduct, medical malpractice, product liability. You know what you're up against, how hard it is to get answers. When all you want is justice, call me, Ben Johnson. Whatever your legal crisis, I will fight for you. Call me today.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt,
Dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Going from hourly to salary seemed like a good career move, but now you're working 60 hours a week instead of 40, and you aren't getting paid any of that extra time. You're stuck, right? Wrong. You can be on salary and still be entitled to overtime. If you've been wrongly denied such pay, you may be entitled to that and more. Gold Star Law is here to help you through your employment law problem, whatever it is.
Gold Star Law, protecting employees' rights. Call 1-800-WAGES-10 for a free consultation today.
We've been battling during the break about the numbers on credit card debts, and Diners Club was the first major charge card that actually came out in the early 50s or late 49. Just in terms of the amount of the debt, forget about 1967. 1987, there was $169 billion worth of revolving credit card debt versus 2013, which has $850 billion. That says a lot more to me. That's only a span of 16 years, and it's gone up fivefold. We haven't seen inflation at that level, which is what?
About student loans and the cost of education. I'll just give you a number. Wait, but I just want to make sure, because Jenny's looking at me like he's crazy. No.
And let me do this. I'll look back at Jenny like he's crazy.
He must have a daughter
We're
going to
talking
college.
about credit card debt, so do us the little favor of we're a little slow. Tie that back to the credit card debt with the student loans to prove your point.
Credit card debt and student loans have gone up fivefold, or sixfold, sevenfold.
Okay.
The cost of living has increased fivefold, sixfold, sevenfold. Wages have not increased fivefold.
I don't think the
sixfold,
cost
or
of living has gone up 5 to 7 times.
Listen, when you tell me that if it cost $5,000 for me to go to college in 1985, and now it costs $25,000 for me to send my kid to college next year, and
in 1987,
wages were roughly the same. Still.
In 1987, your car payment wasn't 20% of your current car payment. In 1987, I would agree with you that the problem is you're right, wages haven't gone up. I agree with you on that. I don't think everything else has gone up. I don't think a loaf of bread is 5 times more now than it was in 1987, or a dozen eggs. I don't think food has gone up 5 times. But the big problem is the student loan debt and the credit card debt I think that proves your point. And wages haven't gone up, but I don't think everything else has gone up. I'm only taking issue with the whole cost of living. I think we have a couple certain areas that are bankrupting us, and that's the credit card debt and the student loan debt.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. How much credit card debt does the average person have? I question this, but the number they're saying is $3,779, but they're saying they may not be right, and this is coming from Experian, so that value the source. They say if your credit scores are average or lower, then you have more. You have $5,900 in credit card debt. What percentage of the average consumer's income goes to their debt payments? This is important. In 2010, the most recent year for this data, it was 14.2% of family income was going to pay service debt. How much American consumers paying on their credit card debts? Someone with a $5,000 balance with a 16% APR who makes $125 payment each month would need 4.8 years and $2,000 in interest to pay off the balance. If it was a 25% interest rate, you'd need 7 years, $5,800. All right, so it just kind of those are numbers that don't surprise us. But here's what I want to do. I want to put it in better perspective, and I want to use Dave. Dave being the guy from the commercial that we do about Dave. You're a bright guy, good job, smart education. So why are you so dumb? And then we talked about Dave, and we'll create our own numbers for Dave right now. Let's assume he has $80,000 a year of income, so he's a bright guy, he's making decent income. That translates to $6,660 a month gross income. Let's assume after taxes his net is $5,000 a month. That's what his net income is. That's what he has to spend every month. Now let's assume Dave's got $30,000 of credit card debt. Now granted, Dave is not like this average person in this article with $3,900, but believe me, there's a lot of Daves out there because $30,000 of credit card debt from what we see is not, I don't consider it to be an outrageously, it's too much credit card debt for Dave's income, but it's not an outrageous amount or it's not nothing unusual about it. If you have $30,000 of credit card debt, your monthly payments on the cards are at 2.5%. That comes to $750 a month, which times 12 is $9,000 a year. Let's assume the $30,000 of credit card debt is at 18% interest. That's $5,400 a year of those $9,000 worth of payments are going to interest. So the question is, using kind of similar statistics that were in this article, what is this costing Dave? On his gross income, his payments of $9,000 against $80,000 in gross are 11.25% of his gross income. But you don't get to spend your gross. You only get to spend your net. So on his $9,000 of payments against his net of $60,000 in net income, he's spending 15% of his net income just to make the credit card payments.
Now, you know, that an interesting fact here is that you're making an assumption that Dave isn't using his credit cards. All you're doing is assuming that Dave, on day one, has maxed out his credit card and is never going to use it again. And history shows us that that's not true.
Wrong, kiddo. Was that John Wayne? Did John Wayne say kiddo too?
Probably.
Close, but I don't think that's what my assumption is. My assumption is he's not reducing his balance. My assumption is he's still using these cards, but what he's paying down, because when he makes his minimum payment, he chips away a little bit at the principal balance, but then he brings it back up with more charges. So I'm assuming the balance remains at the $30,000. Just a little. I'm splitting it here with you a little bit.
If that is what's happening, Dave is living beyond his means.
Oh, no question. And I mean, look at what he's paying. He's paying 15% of his net income on the credit cards. On the interest alone, the interest on $5,400 against $60,000 net income is 9% of his income is just servicing the debt. On his gross, $5,400 against $80,000, it's 6.75%. We're going to take a break and figure out what should Dave do.
You like your job. What you don't like is the way your boss has been treating you. He's making comments about how you look instead of your work, and he's been touching you inappropriately. If you complain, is he allowed to fire you? Absolutely not. Unwelcome sexual comments, advances in contact are illegal in the workplace. Make him pay. Gold Star Law is here to help you through your employment law problem, whatever it is.
Gold Star Law, protecting employees' rights. Call 1-800-WAGES-10 for a free consultation today.
Every family has the family meeting, and we all know what that means. Dad's got dementia. What are we going to do? What's the care plan that the family has in place? Usually they don't, or they struggle with a care plan. When you go home tonight and you talk to your tax person and you talk to your financial person, say, what's the plan that you have in place? And as soon as they don't give you an answer, give me a call, because I can do it for you.
Double Action, shooting center and gun shop for the largest selection of guns, accessories, and ammunition. Double Action is your only pro gun shop. And now you can train with the best in our basic CCW course with the most comprehensive curriculum, the best resources, and most accomplished staff. Don't be fooled by cheap imitations. Double Action is the only place to get your CCW or renewal. Double Action. We're on DeQuinder and Madison Heights.
No one ever thinks that a serious injury can happen to them, but it can, and it does. And it can happen to you. And when it does, you need a fighter in that courtroom for you. Call me, Ben Johnson. Automobile accident, police misconduct, medical malpractice, product liability. You know what you're up against, how hard it is to get answers. When all you want is justice, call me, Ben Johnson. Whatever your legal crisis, I will fight for you. Call me today.
All right, welcome back. All right, we've got to figure out what Dave should do, but before we go over quick announcements, I want to remind people, Financial Crisis Analyzer is active and online on our website. You just go to the very middle, click right there, click on it. You can do an analysis of your finances. You input the data, it leaves you the options, and it's 100% totally free.
Yeah, and for those of you that are just listening on the radio and not watching us on TV, you can find it at fctalkcenter.com.
Oh, okay, that's good because
radio is not a visual thing. You hear it.
Oh, you got a good point there. Good one. I like that one, Brian. Good one. Or financialcrisistalkcenter.com as well. Upcoming seminar 2014, Wednesday, January 15th, 7 to 8:30. You want to sign up for it, go to thavgross.com or financialcrisistalkcenter.com. Road to Success 2014. We're going to the seminar is broader based. It's going to focus on what steps you need to do to put your finances in order so that you can begin saving money. It's not a desperation situation. It's a planning situation. Look at elderly parents. If your parents are getting ready in their final stages of their life, you have to take into account Medicaid planning and things like that, so that you have money to retire with. If you're not to the Medicaid standpoint, but you're retired, do you have enough money to live so that you're not invading principal? All these issues are going to be addressed in the new seminar. It's a new format. I want to thank our sponsors: Venn Johnson Law, Gold Star Law, Samasco Law, Double Action Shooting Range and Gun Shop, Spine Specialists of Michigan, Elite REO Services, Alan Stalter, Short Sale Specialist, and our upcoming sponsor, Cardiology Associates of Michigan, as well as our gift certificate sponsors, Johnny Pomodoros and Detroit Popcorn. All right, now back to Dave. All right, here's the situation with Dave. He's spending $750 a month of his $6,000 net income, $6,000 a month net income on credit cards. If he could change the situation so he could save that $750 a month rather than paying it on the credit cards, you have to look at what it means to him. At 7% per year return, and let's assume he's putting it away tax deferred in an IRA or a 401k because the numbers work, it's under the cap. In 10 years at 7% growth, that's $129,815. In 20 years, it's $390,699. If you could get 9% on your money, and look at how well the market's done this year, and if Dave's a younger guy and he's in an aggressive portfolio from the standpoint of retirement rather than conservative, if he was able to get 9%, in 10 years that's $145,138. In 20 years it's $500,000, $500,921. My point, all I'm saying to you is if Dave did not have the credit card debt and he took the same $750 a month that he's sending to the credit card companies and instead put it away in an IRA or a 401k, in 10 or 20 years he has a lot of money saved towards retirement. And my big problem is the Daves of the world are not doing this, and when they get to the 10-year mark and the 20-year mark, they're so proud of the fact that they have an 800 credit score, but they have no money in the bank for savings in retirement, and all they have is Social Security. And that, to me, is the fatal mistake that the American dream is being sucked away by the financial industry. All the marketing, all the good cheer, all the joy and pretty pictures that are associated with the advertising of credit cards and the free miles and the free gifts and the cashback refunds and all that crud is all designed to bankrupt the American individual from the standpoint of his future. So what should Dave's goal be? What should Dave do, Brian?
Well, Dave should consider looking at debt resolution, Dave should consider filing a bankruptcy. Dave should consider moving to Guam.
All right, back it up. I don't know what your thing is with Guam. You got this thing about Guam. But Dave's got to get rid of the credit card debt. That's what his goal. That's the goal. How he gets rid of the credit card debt comes down to a planning thing. Is bankruptcy an option? Is debt resolution an option? Brian says move to Guam. I guess that you're not allowed to. You don't have credit card debt in Guam. I don't know about Guam.
And I'll throw out there that there are also concepts of just plain old money management to pay down your debt and get rid of it the old-fashioned way. There, by finding the money in your budget that you don't know that you have.
True, and make sure you pay off the highest interest rate cards first, and then go to the next ones after. But let's talk about Dave. If he's making $60,000 a year net income, and his gross income is $80,000, do you think he's going to qualify in normal circumstances for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy? Could
Dave
he just
a single
discharge
guy?
that?
Or is Dave a family
Let's
of
assume
four?
let's assume he's a single guy, or he's got one spouse.
Dave is likely.
You're not allowed to have two spouses in America, I don't think, unless it's a TV show.
I don't know. We can ask Brigham Young. But Dave is likely to qualify for a Chapter 13 bankruptcy.
All right, so you can't just discharge the debt in Chapter 7.
No, because he makes too much money, and at $80,000 a year gross, Dave is likely to fail the means test in bankruptcy.
Right, and in a 13, he probably could qualify, but he might have to pay back too much over the course of a 5-year plan, right?
Yeah, we'd have to look at that
numbers.
and look at his numbers, and if Dave was going to pay back more than 50 to 60% of what Dave owed in a Chapter 13, we would try to look at debt resolution as being a more viable opportunity.
All right, so listen, you've said the word twice, debt resolution. It's like I don't recall. Is that like some kind of a program? Do I go to the Debt Resolution Bible? What the heck are you talking about? We talk about this all the time, but what is debt resolution?
Debt resolution, in a nutshell, is
it's got to be a fast nutshell.
Settling
40 seconds.
Settling your debts that you owe to the credit card companies for less than full value by negotiating a settlement and getting forgiveness of debt on the remaining portion of the debt that you do not pay.
It's an aggressive plan to get out of debt that you need to investigate and look at. But you got to start with the bottom line for Dave. He's making a mistake if he goes the rest of his life paying $750 a month on the credit card debt. He needs to take action. That's the smart play for Dave. That's what he needs to do. We're winding down on this segment. Thanks for listening to the Financial Crisis Talk Center. We will be back with the next section of the Financial Crisis Talk Center.